In the midst of the excitement at Sebring, it's easy to forget there were some contentious moments. A few penalties have been handed out, and in the case of our GTE winner, a stern warning. Finger wagging aside, the drivers have clearly been as amped up as the fans. Watkins Glen is certainly a good candidate to provide more stunning action as we get ready to watch round 3 of the Racing Edge Esports Championship. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Samuel Ryman and Peter Mackay. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Watkins Glen International is far and away one of the most popular tracks on iRacing. This month alone, we're covering 9 races at this New York circuit. To help those wondering what the hubbub is about, we have our handy track guide to show you around.
Hey guys, I'm Daniel Morad, professional race car driver, and this is one lap around Watkins Glen International in the Porsche 911 RSR. Across the stripe, heading in towards turn 1, looking for the 300 board, hard on the brakes, down to third gear. We want to use a little bit of the curb, but early on power. The reason why we want early power application is because we're going to be absolutely flat out from exit of turn 1 all the way through the S's here in Watkins Glen, between the narrow guardrails, up through the gears, and onto the longest straight on the circuit. This is going to be key for overtaking opportunities, so you want to make sure you have a really clean exit out of turn 1. As we head towards the carousel, we're skipping the bus stop in this configuration. Just on the brakes before that hump in the road, tight to the apex. The car gets really light in the front end as we enter, but gets lots of front end grip on the bottom in the compression. Into turn 6, we go down to third gear, very light on the front on the entry, but tons of grip on the exit, so we want to get early on power. Into turn 7, we're looking just past the 200 board on the brakes, uphill, lots of grip here as we go into the compression, and early on power is super important and key here at Watkins Glen as we're fighting the forces of gravity. Into turn 8, we're looking just past the 200 board, down to second gear. The car gets really light on the entry as it drops away the road. Use all the curb on the exit. Back over for turn 9, early-ish turn in, earlier than you think, as the track does open up on the exit and you want to use all that extra bit of tarmac. Turn 10, fourth gear, little bit of a lift, no brake pressure at all, use all the road, fourth gear, down to third for turn 11, which is the last corner here at Watkins Glen. You want to use a lot of that curbing on the exit as we make the run to the start-finish line and complete one lap around Watkins Glen International.
They see your way around thanks to Daniel Morad here at Watkins Glen. But Sam, this is a track that sees a lot of action both in real life and here on iRacing. It's no wonder with the kind of racing that it tends to put on.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. This is a very popular circuit, but there's 4 different configurations of it on iRacing. There's a boot configuration and the cup configuration, but also what you have here. This is the classic boot configuration. What does that mean? Well, it's just like the boot, except there's no inner loop. So, for those of you concerned, if the inner loop is your favorite turn on this circuit because of the drama it creates, don't worry, because we have another form of drama that this creates, and that is massive slipstream battles, because the cars will be pretty much flat out all the way from the exit of a 90, which is turn 1. They'll be flat out all the way up through the S's, all the way down the back straight, and then throwing it into the carousel. So we might not necessarily get the excitement of the inner loop on this classic configuration, but there'll be plenty of excitement to make up for it once they get to that carousel.
No doubt about that. Now, this is a place that is very fitting for vintage race cars, and our promoter offers plenty of those vintage race cars. So, if you want to put your racing skills to the test on the track, visit racingedge.com and check out the latest listings for race cars and classic cars. From super quick McLarens to vintage Ferraris, racingedge.com will cater for your needs. Want to learn more about how to get into motor racing? Visit racingedge.com/media for more. Now, qualifying is just getting started, but we got some time before we get laps on the board. So let's start with Peter with our championship update. The GTE class, Peter, how did we wind up after round 2?
Well, there's a little bit of a shuffle with our championship standings. And I think the graphic on screen might be mistaken because Nico Verone got a post-race penalty. So I shall read the revised points out as well. So Caden Bin is leading with 43 points. That is correct. In second place is Alex Simonik with 25 points. Right behind him is Gilham Pipers with 24 points. In fourth place is Alexander Davidson with 21 points. Fifth, Daniel Morad with 20 points. Sixth, Giuliano Romagnuolo with 19 points. And joining him close as he was on track as well, Nico Verone, 19 points as well. Eighth is Tay Kim with 14 points. Ninth is Mark Alguero with 8 points. And rounding out the top 10, Stephen Jeffrey with 4 points.
Things have been very interesting in the GT4s, especially last round, Sam, where we had a new winner. Why don't you bring us up to speed on that class?
Yeah, and that new winner was Warren, who came home in first place at the second round of the season in Sebring, and of course using the Formula One point scoring, that's going to give him 25 points. But Michael Morley, using F1 point scoring, gets 25 points from a win in Daytona and 18 points with a second in Sebring, so that puts him 43 points on the top of the charts. Warren's win moves him up to second in the point standings, whereas Michael Broomhead is sitting there third in the points. He has had back-to-back fourth place finishes, so consistency sees him third in the points, but he doesn't have a podium yet. Thomas Cope got a second at the season opener and eighth in Sebring, despite some drama early on there. And Phil Schrader rounding out the top 5 in points there. His results so far this season have been a third and a ninth.
Now, for today's race, in case we have viewers wondering exactly how this league works, we got race details here to run you down. We are in round 3 out of 8 championship races, and then they have a 9th champions race, if you will. They have 2 classes. They are the GTE Porsche 991, and then the other Porsche, well, one of the other Porsches here on iRacing, the GT4. It's the Cayman, the 718. It's a 40-minute race that they'll be running with no pit stops. They have a fixed setup in this series. The drivers really don't have to mess around with that. They just get out on the track and try and go as fast as they can. And there's also cash prizes up for grabs, not just for the podium like you see here, but also for the championship itself that the drivers are going to be fighting for. And even though it doesn't say on here, for those wondering, they do have a fast repair waiting for them. So a spare car is in the garage if they get damage during the race and find themselves with too much of that damage to carry on. As we just get, I think, some of our first drivers coming across for their timed laps. Looks like Del Campo going to be the very first one, but the driver who has been quick in the warm-up and was quick last week, Nick Verone, has the provisional pole as we still get more of our GTEs coming across the line.
Yeah, Nico Verone has put together a lot of fast laps in practice, of course, surrounded with controversy last time out at Sebring, where he was involved in a collision with Giuliano Romagnuolo, sending it up the inside and clashing into the side of his rival. And he was given a 60-second post-race penalty and a one-race probation warning. So the stewards will be watching him very closely today. But with the pace that he's showing today, it looks like he's in a strong place to claim pole position, and he'll be wanting to get away and run in clean air. So for the young Argentinian, certainly an eventful start to the season. Of course, was pipped by the matter of a wheel length at Daytona to the victory by Caden Bin. So he'll be looking to get a win on the board today.
Morley's coming across the line, and that looks like that is good enough for third. So the number 6 finds himself on the second row in his first attempt. Still a little bit of time out here, but they only get 2 timed laps to try and set one on the board. Del Campo, who's coming around to be the first to get that second lap in, has been shuffled down to 9th now that we've had everybody around for the first time. Waiting on a couple drivers to get a lap in because they had it off track and had it discounted the first time around. Some of those include guys like Simonik. 41.9, that's faster for Del Campo, and that's going to put him up on the front row in second place.
Yeah,
Sorry, Sam, go on.
Yeah, well, we're watching the GTE cars qualify here, but I just wanted to make a note on Michael Morley that I hope he picks it up on his second qualifying lap, because that time that he ran was not very fast compared to what he did in practice. And as we watch GTEs cross the line, I'll let you know the GT4 of Andrew Warren is a couple of corners away from completing his first timed lap, and he is definitely a candidate to take pole in the GT4.
Watch Davidson come down to the line of 42.6. It looks like, oh, no, that does put him in 15th. Had to wait a second for the timing and scoring to catch up. Hope that he didn't have an off track there. Sam Fellows does not go quicker, but he stays on pole for at least the time being. No, Waring quicker than him on his first try.
Yep, and that's a few hundredths faster than what Warren was able to do in practice, so kudos to him. Michael Morley is coming out the final turn now. He's qualified on the front row in both of the first two races this season. Can he continue that trend? He'll have to pick up about a second, and he does, but it only bumps him up to third.
Let's see if he'll stay there, because we've got more cars now coming to the line. Wayne Rayner, a 57 flat, is going to put him into 12th. Also got Brian Zinn coming up next.
1 minute 55 in the Cayman's GT4 from Andrew Waring. That is absolutely blistering pace, with Sam Fellows not too far behind. Just a note on the GTE qualifying, you're right, Sam, there's a lot of the drivers who haven't been as quick as they were in practice. That might be to do with the fixed setup, with only a couple of laps here in qualifying. Of course, in practice they can get out there and burn off all the fuel, so that might be that the cars are just running that little bit heavier. Daniel Morad, for example, about 2/10 off his best time in practice.
I also feel at Watkins Glen it might have a little bit to do with the slipstream. Obviously, on practice, they were all on track together, so they could have picked up a slipstream from a car ahead of them. What's Fernandez got for us here? 157.9. Well, that's actually half a second quicker than what he did in practice, so kudos to him. And Steinhausen moves up a couple of positions. Michael Broomhead coming to the line. He ran a 155.7 in practice. There we go. He goes up to fourth place. And I think Andrew Warren wants to make a statement here. He's already got pole. He's not going to lose it, but he comes across to complete his second lap and goes a 10th quicker. So there's your statement.
Oh, makes it even harder to reach. Ogren on his second lap, good enough for 11th. Since his first one didn't count, really needed that one in. Waiting on Brian Zinn to set his first time.
He's been having connection issues, Joe. He's fast. His practice time should put him up probably in the top 15 or so. If he can get a real good time in, maybe he could try and break in the top 10. He's just been in and out of the servers a little bit. So looks like he should be good for a lap here, though.
He'll be the last one to qualify, as everybody else has set a time or has completed both of theirs that they are allowed to do. So out of the penultimate corner and then out of the final turn, right up to the edge. No, he leaves quite a bit of room there. That number 73, what's this going to be? Down and across the start-finish line, 57.7. We'll put him in his 17th. He gets one more chance. No, he does not, because he is actually going to run out of time before he gets back to the start-finish line. Fernandez has already completed his 2 laps. So our grid is set for today. Let's go through that starting order here for round 3 in the Racing Edge Esports Championship. Nico Verone with another pole in his pocket will have Alex Simonik starting next to him. How is that going to play out after today's race? Caden Bin will be starting in 3rd. Another quick driver that is looking for another victory. Nick Rowland starts P4, and they'll be followed by Carlos Cantu in the 5th position. Outside of row 3, you've got Nick Del Campo. Alex Herrera starts P7. Daniel Morad, organizer of the series, has managed to put it into 8th. Gilhelm Pipers, P9. Then you got Reggie Robertson, Peter, who starts in 10th today.
So let's take a look at our drivers starting the back end of the top 10. In 11th position is Giuliano Romagnuolo. Heading off from 12th will be Alex Ellis. starting from 13th in the number 7 car will be a newcomer to the series for today, Aidan Shadbolt. In 14th will be Stephen Jeffrey. Row 8 will be Jose Manuel Balbiani in the very curiously liveried Aston Martin Racing Porsche, very strange combination. In 16th is Alexander Davidson. In row 9 we will have Tae Kim and James JJ Ross. And rounding out the GTE runners is Alex Fredriksson.
A perfect split of 19 GTEs and 19 GT4s. On pole in GT4 class you saw there was Andrew Warren, his second pole in a row in only his second race. Sam Fellows will start second ahead of Michael Morley in third. Michael Broomhead will start from fourth position in class ahead of Stephen Sheriff. Sydney Nye is sixth in class ahead of Thomas Cope and Jeremy Steinhausen, and Colin McKevitt and Christopher Bailey will round out the top 10 in the GT4 field. Then we get to Michael Ogren and Phil Schrader are 11th and 12th in class ahead of Andre Adams and Wayne Rayner. Charles Beauchel will start from 15th in class ahead of Tom Beinbloss. Brian Zinn was able to get just one lap in, enough for 17th in class ahead of Federico Fernandez. And rounding out the field of 38 cars total and 19 cars in GT4 is Mitch Davis. And that's a league admin you see there who's basically in the session to be the policeman there at the back end of the field.
Drivers already on the grid, and there was quite a cloud over the grid at the start. It looks like it's gone away, but it was very, very shady down there. And you can see the temperatures. They were hotter in the qualifying. Mercifully for the drivers, the cooler temperatures should give a little more grip at 106 Fahrenheit on the surface, and not much wind at all, to be honest. So we'll see how they deal with it. As Peter, they're already heading off on their pace lap. Kind of curious to see if anybody will try and start weaving, and we're already seeing some of the front runners weaving back and forth to try to get some heat in those tires for that first lap.
Yep, here we go then. I always find there's something so exciting about a pack of racing cars just pulling off, ready to go to battle. Mentioning that track temperature, it's going to be pretty slick for these drivers, 106 degrees Fahrenheit track temperature. But yes, I've had a quick go on this fixed setup which Racing Edge provides the drivers for this championship, and it's a wonderful setup, making the RSR really nice and stable and kind of dialing out a lot of the kind of twitchiness that you get on the baseline setup. However, what I found, and this might be due to my lack of ability, what I found is that it took a little bit longer than normal to get the tires up to pressure, which of course the 911 RSR has a very sophisticated dashboard which tells you all kinds of things, including the pressure in each tire, and it takes just a little bit to build more pressure and heat into them. So that's probably why you see quite a lot of the 911 RSR GTE runners weaving around trying to get a bit of heat in the tires, but also the brakes as well. Remember, these Porsche 911 RSRs do not have anti-lock brakes like the GT4 cars do, so getting a little bit of heat in the brakes is always advisable for that dive into turn 1 of the 90. And of course that turn, the 90, it's so tight on the entry, and often a hot spot for a little bit of calamity in the opening lap.
Well, Sam, last week we had quite a few technical portions, some very tight parts of the track at Sebring. This place, especially without the inner loop, there is quite a bit of wide open around here. And I'm kind of wondering if that will ease the traffic. What are your thoughts? Will it be a little bit less of a headache for people to try and weave around the slower classes?
Yeah, I think without a question that it is. You know, the bus stop is something that was put in 1975, and we saw in a GT4 race last night, it could really bunch the field up but kind of reduce overtaking opportunity. And I think that big long straight, it'll coming into the outer loop, that will certainly help overtaking opportunity.
They're already in the boot now, heading their way towards the heel. Now, if you want to follow all of the action on the track and we're not showing your favorite driver, you can check out our live timing at gsrc.tv. We've got every driver up all race long, so even if we don't have your driver on screen, you can at least know how they're doing all in real time. Back onto the main course now. It's a whole lot of Porsches out on this circuit, even being led by a Porsche pace car. Verone is going to have control of the field. Simonic, can he get a good launch? Can he maybe try to challenge? Or will he maybe use the slipstream up the backstretch on the way to the carousel? Got one more corner to go. Verone following as they're very tightly packed here in our field. Porsche pace cars in. Green flag is out, and that is a very late start for our leaders. They got severely checked up behind. We're already 3 wide in some spaces. A challenge for second place with Caden Bin trying to get himself into it. As they come around the 90, they fan out, and then they've got to squeeze back together, and that's going to cause a wreck in the back as we got 3 cars in the wall. Everybody scatters to avoid. Not everybody's going to get through. Let's go to the GT4s.
And here come the GT4s down into the braking zone of 90. Hopefully all the carnage was cleared ahead of him. The leaders get through it cleanly. A little bit of 3 wide action going on back there, but there's plenty of room for it. Andrew Warren has got off to a good start, but I think he's missed a shift going up a hill or something. He's going very slow going up a hill, and Sam Fellows pulls right back up to his rear bumper.
Boy, things action-packed here at the start, Peter.
Yeah, Alex Ellis already in pit lane having to take a tow, and Alex Herrera in the Manti Racing liveried machine, but obviously been involved in an incident. I saw one very brightly coloured car spinning round at the S's. Very easy to do on lap 1 on cold tyres. So yes, it looks like we've had a little bit of calamity, and I think that might be Daniel Morad, who's a little bit further down the order as well. Looks like he might have got caught up in that little incident as well.
He did. He was one of the first involved in there, just coming off the 90. Meanwhile, we're watching this battle for the lead, and that is Simonic up at the front, banging doors behind for second. That's Verone and Bin, and it looks like Caden's not going to be able to take advantage of it, even though he had the inside line. He slots back into third. This is fierce for the start of a 40-minute race.
Well, that's no different to what we've seen the previous 2 races, Joe. Unfortunately, I think every race this season has started with a little bit of carnage, but this is nice, clean racing we see as the 3 leaders dive off into the 90 once again on lap 2.
Verone gets it back as Simonic can't defend, but Bin isn't able to sneak by. The top 3, nothing between them as we ride on board with Caden, looking from the hood of the car. We're going to get that slipstream once again. Who's going to go where? Out to the high side. That is Simonic. And Ben is just going to sit in behind. So 2 wide for the lead yet again. Verone down to the inside in the red and white machine as they break for the carousel. It's the long way around, but there's a lot of banking here. And Simonic might actually be able to do this, Peter, because he's got the inside now for the chutes.
Yeah, he's going to have a look at the chute. That's very, very tight. Verone holds the outside line and will take the inside line heading into the toe of the boot. But Simonic looks like he might have got the move done. Yes, he has. Now, what you're looking at here is these top 3 cars. If you're new to the Racing Edge series, welcome. But what you're looking at here in these 3 leading cars of Bin, Verone and Simonic is really the class of the field. But look at Cantu there in the 911 RSR factory paint scheme there, the white, red and black car, really looking to feature in this race as well. And it looks like he's going to get that move done on Caden Bin. Very, very strong.
Oh, no!
Contact, huge contact. That's our championship leader involved in that. And it's Cantu who's got turned round. Bin very, very lucky to avoid being turned round there. Let's get a replay.
It looked like it was 2 drivers vying for the same piece of track, but on the straightaway, not sure why they wound up coming together. Oh, a slight bit of ghost contact, unfortunately, so can't really blame them too much on that one. Bin did fall back to 5th, but is still going. Not sure how much damage he has. Meanwhile, we've got action down in the GT4, Sam.
Yeah, Sam Fellows has definitely been challenging Andrew Warren for the lead of this class. Right now he's backed off a little bit, and understandably so. They're in the twistier portion of a racetrack where we just saw that wreck. But I don't think Sam Fellows is content in running in 2nd place, and Michael Morley and Michael Broomhead in 3rd and 4th positions respectively aren't too far behind either. And when they get to the end of the back straight again, I wouldn't be surprised if we see another challenge for the lead.
Let's stay here because Simonic did overtake Verone. It was an easy slipstream on the backstretch. This is where those GT4 leaders are going now, and I'm curious to see who is going to get the good run among them. Way wide off the exit of the 90. Morley looks like he lost speed, and Broomhead, trying to take advantage of it, starts to close in.
Yeah, do not underestimate the speed of Sam Fellows. He ran out of fuel at Daytona. He finished third last week at Sebring, but arguably was one of the faster cars in the closing stages. So he's been a little bit frustrated, I'm sure, that he doesn't have a W to his name yet this season, and he's going to try and get it from Andrew Warren, but he's going to have to wait because that move was never on, and in fact, running high there in the carousel costs him a little bit of time to Andrew.
Still, Warren fell a little under threat because he went defensive. Behind them, we have a battle for sixth in that class. That's Cope and Sheriff. The 64 had to go defensive down into the chute. He's able to fend him off. That's Cope in the green machine, green and white, and then Sheriff in the pink and white.
Yeah, I think Cope has a little bit of every color on that car, to be honest.
It's very multicolored, yes. Looks like a watermelon to me, honestly, as they come up to the heel of the boot once again. Looks like Cope's going to stay safe for the time being.
Of course, Thomas Cope celebrated his 21st birthday last week on Thursday, so many happy returns to him. And like you say, he's putting a big livery, a big effort in on his liveries for the season. As we look back at Caden Bin, is back really not where he wants to be, now back in 4th place, and he's got to get past Nick Rowland here. Very, very tricky as they head down into the toe. Rowland goes defensive. That will compromise his exit. There you go. But he's managed to just about tuck it in. This is a disaster for Bin because Simonic and Verone are making their escape.
Yeah, there's a monster gap in front of them right now. Having already taken care of Del Campo, Bin wants to get up to the front knowing that there is a potential victory on the cards. As they now work their way back onto the main course. Once again, a little bit off the apex for Rowland, struggling with the grip here on lap 4. You'd think the tires would be up to temperature by now.
Yeah, certainly with drivers at this level, you would expect so, but you never know with the setup that they're running. It's a very, very stable, very, very nice and predictable, but does take a little bit longer to get that opportunity. So here goes Bin. He's going to look up the inside going into the 90. Good clean move. Gets it done nicely and doesn't compromise his exit much at all. But as I say that, it looks Nick Rowland's trying to make me a liar right on the back of that enormous diffuser on the back of this 911 RSR. Now, that big diffuser there, that was made when the new regulations came in for these GTE cars in the World Endurance Championship, and this is actually the first ever mid-engined 911 RSR, and they actually moved the gearbox to the back of the car from in front of the engine.
And look at that. He gets it right back. Bin's got to have to rethink that pass because the slipstream made it easy. And now they come upon traffic. Mitch Davis going to be the first one up as he pulls out of the way and lets them through in the chute. Trying to see when their next GT4 car. Looks like Bochelle a little ways up the road. So they're trickling in. It's not thick yet, but with 39 cars, it will eventually.
Yeah. It'll be thick in about a couple of laps, Joe. Davis is about 20 seconds behind Ogren, and the GTE leaders are going about 10 seconds a lap quicker than the GT4 cars. So 2 more laps, and then it'll start getting a little heated. Right now, Sam Fellows wants to turn the heat on a little bit, I'm sure, for the race lead. However, I'm not sure he's close enough. I think Andrew Warren's got a little bit of a cushion here, but we'll see. I'm still not sure what happened to Andrew Warren at the start. He was very slow going up a hill. I said he missed a shift, but of course it's pretty much impossible in these cars given the way the gearboxes work. So I don't know if he just got loose or something. Here we go. Sam Fellows sticks his nose out a little bit, but still too far behind. Andrew Warren doesn't really have to defend that too much. But here we go. Fellows has got a nice run on the exit as they come down into the braking zone. This is a left-hander. Fellows has the inside, and Andrew Warren is giving him room. Well, this could get a little bit dicey here, Joe. Andrew Warren, I think, is feeling the pressure.
Right, but he gave him the room. I guess he just didn't trust that he'd stick back there. As they come out of the toe now, this is another spot you sometimes see overtakes at least attempted, and Fellows doesn't look like he quite has what he had out of the carousel. He stays put in second place. for the time being. Did we have another change up at the lead of the GTE? So Simonic and Verone, I thought I saw them swap around yet again.
It's now getting very busy for our GTE drivers. Verone was right in the slipstream all the way down the back straight, but Simonic was able to defend very, very well. But this is where, just like in proper multi-class sports car racing, you've got to be so aggressive and assertive through the traffic. And Simonic probably marginally better through that little sequence of traffic there. But yeah, brilliant stuff from these drivers. And of course, this 911 RSR GTE car won the 6 hours of the Glen here at Watkins Glen with Nick Tandy and Patrick Pillay at the wheel.
Speaking of traffic.
Yep, they're coming up to quite a bit more of it. There you can see them moving around in front of them. That's Rayner, Schrader, and Adams, and one of them's just going to dive completely out of the way. The rest don't really have much place to go. They're going to sneak underneath them. Oh, this is going to be interesting because they're through the S's where things can get a little marginal.
Well, I'm glad my mic was closed there because I took a big gasp of breath in there before opening it back up again. We get a good look at one of Nico Verone's sponsors, iZone Performance, a driver training facility at Silverstone run by Andy Prio. As well, so that's who Nico trains with when he's in the United Kingdom racing. As he thinks he's going to get the inside line here into the chute, will Simonic challenge him? No, just gives him a little bit of room and is going to box him in on the traffic here. Look at this, he's going to box him in, but then Verone, very clever there as well. Now is Simonic going to box him back? Oh my goodness me, this is, gee whiz, this is fantastic stuff here from these two drivers.
It was Bailey and then Steinhausen that they had to go around. Verone looked like he had that one sealed up if it wasn't for the lap traffic. Yet more is coming their way. And the traffic giveth and the traffic taketh, so maybe karma will pay him back.
And Sheriff is not leading GT4. What's happened there? He actually just pulled... Oh, whoa! Sorry, he towed to the pits. That's why he's showing up as a lead. He's out of a race. Oh boy, this is getting dicey, Joe.
My goodness, aggressive move in traffic trying to get past Thomas Cope. I don't think Simonic is waiting around for anybody, and he can't really risk this. He is already on probation. He's been told he'll have a win taken away if he makes unnecessary contact with traffic again.
Alex Simonic apologizing for something over the chat. They've got they can get through it all here. They've got 2 more cars to go, then they're in front of the GT4 leaders.
Oh no!
From second place, the 2 drivers running in the silver positions come together. A nice save there, though.
Wow, Verone barely brushed the blue wall there coming through the S's, but he's going to lose the spot to Roland just due to the lack of momentum. Ben might actually be able to get by, but the car is still going, and that is the critical thing right here. If we get a chance, I'd love to go back and get a replay, watch his hands, but right now the action is still for third. Ben trying to manage to overtake Verone, and he's going to get it done.
And that was Sam Fellows, was the driver in second place who got involved in that in the GT4 car. He's still in second place, but now obviously he's a lot further back from the class lead Andrew Warren.
All right, I think we've calmed down unless he gets a run here.
No, not really. Sam Fellows is still watching a bunch of GTE cars go by him.
Can't forget about that GT4 class. How is this going to affect things? Fellows trying to catch up to Warren, and just as a car dives to his inside, he actually has to pull an over-under. And he's almost going 3 wide with yet more cars suddenly just plowing through.
Yeah, who would want to be a GT4 driver in this race with all these rabid 911 RSRs tearing through? I have to say, the couple of sectors before that incident there with Nico Verone, he was taking unbelievable risks and slicing through the traffic with aggression that you just do not see. Absolutely extraordinary there, and he just got squeezed a little bit with basically following Simonic, and one just moved across. Of course, 2 wide through that part of the S's is notorious for accidents here at Watkins Glen, and also hitting that wall, that's bound to have damaged Verone's car quite badly.
How is Sam Fellows already right back up with Andrew Warren? He almost crashed going up the S's last lap, and he's barely missed a beat.
That is impressive. I didn't even think about that. He looked like he was a goner. So as he continues to hold within half a second here of Andrew Waring, they finally get a small reprieve. I think that's it for at least a minute. I see Balbiani in a GTE car just behind them, but he's at least a lone car.
This is good news for Caden Bin as well, because he looked like he was getting marred in the back of the pack, but now it's just him. It's just Nick Rowland between him and Simonic, and Bin has far more pace on outright pace than Rowland, so we'll just need to see how that goes over the next couple of laps and see if Bin can close Simonic down.
Oof, some of these GTE drivers are awful brave. Balbiani, we were on board, but he almost got into the back of Waring there. And this has allowed Sam Fellows one of his best chances yet. He gets a decent run. They come up to the heel, and he even shows his nose a little bit, but he's not going to take it in on the brakes. He'll stay in second. Just behind them, if they get side by side, that's still Morley and Broomhead. The top four have not been able to spread apart here.
Well, we've got about 20 seconds before these guys hit the back straight again, so I guess it's time to ask our director if we have a replay of that save.
So let's try and pull that one up. And I'd love to get an onboard from Verone if we have time on it. Here, this is it. The view from the 35. Wow. Just incredible. Actually, that was from onboard fellows that we were watching, and that was the save in front of us. Still, that was an excellent view.
So does Fellows just hop the curve here? We'll watch it again.
Yeah, he does, I think.
Yeah, he gets a little unstable trying to pull out the way, clips Verone, and I think Verone paid for that a bit more than Fellows, because ultimately Fellows is still in second place.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He was just trying to squeeze himself over, unfortunately.
Bit of a 50-50 there, I think, guys. Just one of those unfortunate things. It just shows you, if you come across slower traffic at the S's, it's the worst place on the circuit to come across it. We saw in the Watkins 6 hours of the Glen in the early stages of the races last year, with one of the Corvettes getting in and basically turning into a massive demolition yard in there, with just ping-ponging off the barriers. So this great battle here in GT4 between Fellows and Waring is so good on the brakes. But look what we've got here. Nick Rowland holding up Caden Bin, but look at Verone. He's right there. So although his car is not at 100%, he's got a bit of rear wing damage, so but that doesn't seem to be holding him back too much. But Bin, he's going to want to have to get past Rowland soon, but he'll be able to line up a move very, very late on the brakes there. He might get checked up slightly. You've got to be careful for that, using a lot of room on the exit.
Fellows is going for it. Fellows has made the move down the inside at the heel of a boot. Our leaders in the GT4 classes side by side coming through back up onto the cup configuration of the course, but Warren holds him off. But Fellows once again pointing his nose up alongside Warren, letting him know he's recovered from his big moment in the S's and he wants this lead, he wants this win.
Just amazing stuff here. Warren already with one win. Morley is the other one with a victory in this little group, as we've got side by side for second as well. Our poor director has just got his spoiled for choice on action. That's Rowland to the inside as they come to the toe of the boot. Bin to the outside. They almost make contact. Just nearly squeezes him in. As they've got a car to the side, they're going to be able to weave. And it looks like Bin manages to take the spot as poor Rowland has to catch it on the grass.
Furiously flashing on the lights there. Rowland must be very frustrated, but ultimately Bin does have the outright pace, and there's Simonic not too far ahead. As Verone takes a, oh my word, I tell you what, Nico Verone, he can tell he's a young, hard-charging single-seater driver, because whether there's room or not, he will make it. He says, coming through, buddy, I am going to make that gap there. So he's off in hot pursuit of Caden Bin, and we saw Nico Verone, I would say the driver with the hottest pace in practice, so watch for that red and white car there.
Well, that, you talk about open wheels, that felt a little bit more NASCAR than IndyCar to me, Peter, because Verone, just the lightest of nudges, and that was enough to move him. And Rowland suddenly slides back. Verone now looks ahead to try and catch up to Bin. Simonic, though, 2.3 seconds ahead of this whole battle. There he is on screen. He's loving that fight. as he wants to stay as far away from that as possible and get win number 2.
Yeah, you know, is the GT4 car, Sam?
Yeah, well, nothing's changed up front in the GT4 leaders right now. We get them on camera. They're coming up to the back straight again to see if Fellows does anything. I don't want to pick a dog in this fight because it's going to be great to see these 3 fight for the championship all season long. But I will say, if it finishes the way it is right now, just due to the way Grand Prix style point scoring works, it'll be awesome because Andrew Warren, with 2 wins to his name, will have 50 points in the championship. And Michael Morley, I believe, will have 58 points. So despite not showing up at the season open at Daytona, that would put Warren and Morley just 8 points apart from each other after 3 rounds. Morley did not get through turn 1 very well, so Warren just has to worry about Fellows this time by. Fellows once again getting a slipstream. He's close enough that he can get up alongside Warren again, I'm sure, but let's see. He hasn't been able to take it from Warren yet, and looks like Warren should be able to defend. Slides out a little bit, but Fellows is going to be on the outside for the next corner. That might not be a bad thing, though, if he can pinch Warren down. But I think Warren's been able to defend the challenge this time.
A bit of over-under there for Fellows. Doesn't quite pay off. This time, though, it looks like it might. He gets the shot. He could look to the inside. It's not covered off by Warren. And Warren, once again, we're seeing him leave a space open. Now he cuts back down, takes to the racing line, and looks for the exit. Things are getting dicey here at the top of the GT4s.
So, Verone, look at this. Verone fighting back with a damaged 911 RSR. He's had it in the wall, remember, at high speed, but he is getting past our championship leader, Verone, stamping his authority and ruffling feathers as he has done in each race so far. And remember, this is a replay of race 1 at Daytona where we saw one of the closest finishes I would ever likely to see in a motor race, getting a very close look at the front bumper of Ben's red and black Porsche there, looking at the off the back of Nico Verone in his red and white 911 RSR. But this battle, I tell you what, if you're Simonic, you're looking in the window going, yeah guys, have a fight, go for it, that's brilliant, thank you so much. Because of course, once these 2 drivers are just battling each other, it doesn't mean that they can run the outright pace, and that is allowing Simonic to escape to potentially a second win of the season.
More traffic that they're having to try and pick their way through. Ogren staying down low, and Davis was the other one that they just snuck by. Looks like no harm, no foul for anybody there, although it does spread apart Verone and Bean by a little bit. Down into the 90 one more time. This is where things have kicked off often. And last time it was nearly door banging coming through the carousel. Does Bean have enough to reel him back in? Is the damage on Verone enough that he is going to be slowed on top end speed? This will tell us a lot right here. Ooh, they've got more traffic up in front. That's Schrader. And that's actually, is that a battle for position?
It might be, but Fellows has just sold Andrew Warren a dummy going down into the chute. And now he's up alongside him down at the toe of the boot here, trying to use the momentum of the high side to get the run off, but it doesn't work. And once again, Andrew Warren holds onto the lead, but Fellows getting more and more creative as we ride on board Michael Morley, also wondering what he can do to win this race.
He's getting awful close to the back of those 2 as we ride on board. You can see there's nothing between them right now. And still, Fellows, like you said, throwing the kitchen sink at it at this point. He is not content with the traditional passing spots on this track. Anywhere is an overtaking place for him because there's only 16 minutes left to go. Time is running out.
I'll tell you who time is not running out for, and that is Nico Verone. I think Nico Verone has the pace to catch up with Simonic because on the lap before the last, he was a 10th quicker even after making that move on Caden Bin. So watch Nico Verone. I think, traffic allowing, I think he does have the pace. If Caden Bin lets him away, he does have the pace to catch up with Simonic. So I think if you're Caden Bin, I think you're going to sit on the gearbox of Nico Verone and let him drag you up there, because certainly with the GTE cars with the 911 RSR, the draft effect is much greater than it is with the GT4 Cayman.
And Fellows has got a really nice run on Warren this time up the back straight. He's going to be alongside him halfway up the straight. These two battles are about to merge, by the way. The GTE leaders are about to capture GT4 leaders once again, so we'll see how that mixes things up. Once again, though, I think Fellows is going to fall short, but one of these laps, I'm going to say that, and he's going to prove me wrong, and that could very well be this lap. He's on the inside of the chute this time. There he goes. Can he clear him? No. Warren's still able to power off.
It's going to be a drag race now down into the toe of the boot, and the inside goes back to Waring. Could see another over-under situation here as he goes in shallow and Fellows tries to square things off. He climbs back up the hill just as they start to be interrupted by our leader in the GTE class. That's Simonic coming to the inside. I think he's going to be able to get through in time without holding either of our top two up.
Yeah, crucial move there from Simonic. Again, he'll be looking in his mirror going, oh, thank goodness for that, getting past those three Caymans. Look at Verone. He goes through, and I tell you what, Fellows, he gave him a heck of a lot more room there, didn't he? He said, oh, no, not you again. Oh, I'm moving well out of the way, letting you go on by, my friend. So, Nico Verone clear again from Caden Bin, but Simonic probably just getting the cards just falling in his favour ever so slightly with the traffic there, but Verone still quicker. Look at that, look at the lap time comparison, nearly 0.4 of a second quicker. And of course, Caden Bin, able to just hang on to his coattails a little bit of Nico Verone. I tell you what, I think we've been spoilt to two absolutely titanic battles so far at Daytona and Sebring. I tell you what, guys, if I were a betting man, I think 13 minutes from now we're going to have another one.
And another driver that had a good hand dealt to him that time through the traffic was Waring. He's separated from Fellows by almost a full second. As we continue to watch one of the best battles here. This is Verone being chased by Bin for second place. Has he actually settled in? Does he believe that Nick is quicker and can run down Simonic, or is this the most he can do?
Unfortunate news from the GT4 class. Andre Adams has retired. He spun in the carousel about a lap ago and I think put it in the wall, and that ended his race.
Fellows, wow. He caught that time up very, very quickly. What was a whole second is now back down to half a second. That's Roman Yolo just going between them.
Well, that reminds me of my days when I used to do track days on my motorcycle, and I'm riding along thinking I'm Valentino Rossi, and then someone goes past me, basically like Roman Yolo did there, and you just get a big fright. I can't tell you what, I would not want to be in the GT4 class here with all these 911 RSRs plowing through the field. I have to say, this is what makes sports car racing and multi-class sports car racing so exciting. How you manage that traffic is just as important as your outright lap speed.
Andrew Warren was on the outside there in the penultimate corner. That cost him a bit of time again to Fellows. I just want to make note of what you said there. I think there is a YouTube video where someone is doing a track day on the motorcycle, and Valentino Rossi himself is also on the track day on the motorcycle, and you learn which one of them's a little bit faster.
We got to go back to Verone, because Ben got a big run, but he lifted. That is telling. He still closes in here in the carousel, but I'm taking notes here, Peter.
Well spotted, Joe. You can tell we're working with real professionals here, so thank you for that. That is a real indicator of what Bin's strategy is. And you know what? Caden Bin has had all the pace of his competitors throughout this championship so far, and he's been smart. He's only 15 years old, but really showing a mature racing head here. With after his victory at Daytona as well. And I think he's spotted that Nico Verone has a lot of pace, and as you said, just that little bit of an earlier lift-off coming into the outer loop. And that, if he can keep that going, he'll get dragged up by Verone towards Simonic. And I think if you're Simonic and you have another lap slower than Verone, that's going to affect his performance over the closing stages with about 6 laps to go.
Verone's last lap at a 41.9 compared to Simonic's 41.8. So Verone was actually mildly slower that last time, but only by a tenth. Let's see what it is. Simonic with a 41.8 this time. Verone, 41.7. He responds.
only ever so slightly. Maybe Vaughan's not spotted.
Something happened to Warren?
Yeah, Warren's lost the lead. Warren got caught in a really bad part by some GTE traffic. They wanted his inside. Warren didn't think they were going to take it. He was basically forced out onto the outside where he didn't want to be, and Fellows took full advantage and took a lead. Look, Warren's trying to cover the inside. He doesn't want to let the GTE guys by there, but they forced their way by anyway. And because Warren basically had to go out wide to prevent an accident from occurring, that just allowed Fellows to sneak on through.
He's almost touching the corner of the car. Hopefully it didn't damage the suspension as they come back up the hill. So the tables have been reversed. And now Sam Fellows is leading. Can Warren run him down? Has he had better pace in general? Or has this been a long time coming and Fellows not going to let it switch back? 10 minutes left to go on the clock, and it doesn't look like Warren is terribly fast in a straight line.
Yeah, that might be a little bit of aero damage, possibly, but he's better on the brakes there coming into the outer loop as they head down the hill towards the chute, heading towards the boot section here. Andrew Warren in the basically the virtual paddock on Discord for this season, already being referred to as the alien of the GT4 class, that he's so quick. So he's not done yet in that 336 machine, but Fellows looking very strong as well. And you'll see on the side of Fellows' blue and white machine the logo for Pfaff Porsche, which of course a powerhouse of Porsche retail and racing in Canada.
For those tuning into SimRacing for the first time, an alien is a ultra-fast driver of the highest speeds here on the sim. So that's what we're talking about with Warren being considered an alien out here. And he's certainly been out of this world so far this season as he once again closes in on the 35 and tries to take it back from Fellows. A little bit of a look, but I don't think a serious attempt down in the penultimate turn.
Yeah, my initial thought was that Fellows might be able to run away a little bit because he had been hounding Warren throughout the race, but obviously Warren proving me wrong either through driving a bit better himself or as a result simply of the fact that the slipstream in around here, and it's always hard to break away from the car in second.
It's like Ben finally overtook Verone for second place, and I think that was up into the carousel.
Yep, so he was just biding his time ever so nicely. Let's get a little replay of that move as they head through the S's. Oh, no, I don't think this is them. We're looking at Daniel Morad actually moving from 13th place. I think we're on there we go. Yes, so I think maybe a mistake from Verone because Ben is quite far back here. Oh, yes, a slower car, a GT4 car pulling over, and that just unsighted Verone, and Ben was able to pick his pocket. Now, this will be fascinating to see just how if Ben can escape and if he can keep Verone behind him.
And Warren gets back by Fellows. He uses a slipstream down the back straight. He was on the inside going into the carousel and moves back into the lead. But I don't think this race is over by any means because Fellows has been hounding Warren throughout the entire race, even when he was in second.
Just used that to great effect as they came up the hill. And now up another hill on the track, out of the toe of the boot. Fellows seeing a familiar sight. How quickly is he going to be able to get back through it? Took interference, if you will, for him to get it last time. Oh, and Verone and Ben are side by side once again. Similar to what we just saw for the leaders in the GT4s. It's down into the carousel, side by side, wheel to wheel, out of this long turn and down the hill towards the chute. Verone has the inside. Ben trying to fend him off, and he's not going to be successful. The 27 back up to P2.
Yeah, great move there from Nico Verone. Just planned it all the way down the straight, got the draft and made it stick. But the thing is, when you're making a move there into the outer loop at the end of that long back straight, you've kind of got to plan three corners at once because you see cars running side by side there through those three corners, and you've just got to think, right, where do I need to have the inside as well? So you've really got to think ahead. It's like a game of chess round here at Watkins Glen. Just for one final point on the alien discussion, in the real world, the alien in the MotoGP world, Colin Edwards, former American MotoGP rider, used to refer to Valentino Rossi, Danny Pedrosa and Casey Stoner as aliens because they were just so good and he couldn't figure out why.
I did not
All
know
right,
that.
fellows, just around on Warren once again. He backs out early, though. Backs out early before they get to the carousel. So no change this lap. But he might just be experimenting here, Joe, because there's only a few laps left. And maybe he's thinking it will come down to a last lap pass and you want to be in second place starting the final lap.
And I know we've jumped back and forth quite a bit, but I think Ben's going to get another handle on this as they are going to go 3 wide with the traffic staying to the outside is Phil Schrader as they're squeezed all the way down to the bottom. He wants to come back to the racing line, but Ben finds that there's a Porsche there, and eventually they're able to get there, but still nobody willing to give way as they now once again try and enter the chute side by side. Verone managed to complete the defense here before, and he's going to do it again with a big bobble from Caden coming through that left-hander.
And the GT lead, the GT leaders, I think, are going to catch the GT4 leaders right as this race is finishing again. So that will provide some late excitement for us.
It looks like if you take the inside line going into the outer loop or the carousel, it looks like if you go for the side-by-side as we've been seeing, that will mean that you then get the inside line, outside line going into chute, and then inside line again going into the toe. So you're having to, if you can get the inside line into the outer loop, that should get you through. But Nico Verone able to tough it out there. Brilliant battle. And I tell you what else it's brilliant for, Alex Simonic's Championship Challenge, because all this bickering between Verone and Bin has allowed Simonic to escape. And you've got to think that with a clear run, Verone might have been able to chase him down.
And as Simonic crossed the line there, Joe, I'm calculating about 3 laps. Yeah, 3 laps to go.
That sounds like you're right. And I think Fellows has got another run. Our leaders in the GT4s are going to go wheel to wheel down through the outer loop. Oh, tries for the over-under, but Warren is in the way. That interrupts the momentum of Fellows.
Warren's overshot. He's way overdrove that corner. Fellows sneaks on by. Oh, or maybe not. Warren comes at him. And as these two battle side by side, that could allow Morley to run them back down a little bit. He's been losing a little bit of ground.
Fellows holds on the long way around. He's going to be rewarded with the inside and the toe of the boot. Could this finally be what he's been aiming for all race long? And yes, he moves up into the lead. Another mistake allows Sam Fellows back to P1.
I tell you what, Warring is very good on the brake, so watch him in the closing stages of this race, because he's definitely in some of the heavy braking zones. He really is able to get on the brakes and brake that little bit later. Of course, these Cayman GT4s do have ABS. You can switch it off if you wish, but it's just quite nice to be able to just ram your foot down and let the ABS work it out. But Warring's definitely got the measure of Fellows on the brakes.
Bro, using iRacing's camera tools, I've been able to zoom right in on the front bumper of that 35. Fellows is carrying a tiny bit of front-end damage from that earlier collision, and I think that's what made Warren's pass on him a little bit easier earlier on in the race. I think Fellows isn't up to top speed going down the back straight.
They've got Simonic coming up to them very quickly as well. Depending on where he catches him, he could influence this, because even though he can give away sometime, he can't sit around forever waiting behind these three. Up through the S's. Here comes Morley. Morley finally could be in this thing as well. And it looks like they're going to be caught at the perfect time, because here comes Simonic on the back stretch as he has to take a little weave to go through.
Well, that's a great feeling for Simonic, because, well, here we go, though. Andrew Warren, once again, Joe, Fellows can't do to Warren what Warren just did to Fellows.
I think you're spot on there, Sam. There's definitely just at the top end a top speed difference. I think you're absolutely spot on there. But yeah, Simonic on the last lap was 1.3 seconds slower than Verone, so something went on there. But also this traffic is just, oh goodness me, as Caden Bin checks up and he's got past Verone.
Yes, as they go by our leaders, they had to slow up a bunch down through the chute, so this is even closer together now. As we look back at the nose of Nick Verone, with a minute to go, white flag will be thrown this time by. He takes a little bit of a show of his nose. Not a serious one, he'll stay behind.
Do you think Nico Verone is worrying about his one race probation warning that he's got hanging over him right now? I doubt it somehow.
Hey, let's just go ahead and say it now as they come and get the white flag. Alex Simonik is going to take a win. Yay, well done. I think a battle for second. We've still got one lap left. I think a battle for second in GTE and the battle for the win in GT4 what we're going to want to watch from this final lap. Who's going to win these ones?
Certainly has been where much of the action has been, at least in the GTEs. GT4s, it is for that victory, that valuable set of points that they want. A little bit of a look to the inside from a lapping car. That is Piper's.
I just want to give this guy a shout out. I know there's a lot more going on, but Michael Broomhead is about to get fourth place for the third race in a row.
Ben almost forced Verone off the track as they came up onto the backstretch, and Verone didn't like that. He's going to send it in deep. The gloves are off between these two. Who is going to be able to come out the other side with this second place? Will either of them finish in this? Could this come to tears as they come down into the chute? Still sending it as far as they dare on the brakes, side by side, down to the toe of the boot. Verone has the inside. Can he finally get this one done? Bean trying desperately to hold him back, almost banging doors. Oh, and they do come together.
Oh,
they're gonna get turned.
And Ben's been turned round. They're both involved in this. They were weaving around on the straight, on the back straight. Let's get another look at that. Controversy again here in the Racing Edge series.
Wow. And we'll have to come back to the replay a little bit later because this man right here is above it all today. Alex Simonik, the number 250 car, managed to get a win last week, and he's going to get another one as he comes around the final corner and wins here in New York.
Fellows would have to do something quite dive bombish, to be honest, to take this win for Warren. Warren loses a little bit of momentum as he lets a GTE car by. Fellows is going to try that dive bomb strategy. Maybe he gives it all he's got going through turn 10. Warren's going to protect the inside. Well, maybe if Fellows can get the power down enough, he can make something happen to the line. But no, there's not enough room. Andrew Warren is going to win here at Watkins Glen.
And Roland took the second place away, got the cash. Verone did wind up in third, up in the GTE class. Remember, there's money on hand here for these drivers. Morley wound up in P3 down in that GTE class. Seeing if we got any other battles coming to the line. And I'm not seeing any. Do we have time to go and look at that replay? Roland has got to be beside himself in all this.
Go then. Verone's got the inside line, but Ben goes quite late on the brakes. I really hope this isn't another netcode incident because Verone looks to give him room here. Oh no. Ben just turned into the brake from there. Oh dear, that's not the last we're going to hear about that. We had controversy last time out, and remember that Caden Ben, that is our championship leader, and Simonik sitting in second place right now, so that's going to shake everything up before round 4.
Oh, this was fantastic. This series has been a stunner. All 3 rounds so far for the Racing Edge Esports Championship. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because on screen, you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC. welcome back to Watkins, Glen. Round 3 here in the Racing Edge Esports Championship. May not have seen a fight for the victory go all the way to the line in the GTE class, but for second place, it was a shocker. At the very end, Simonic was your victor, and it was by 7 seconds. It would have been less than that because Roland didn't go into second place until the very last lap when he brushed by 2 cars tangling. Nick Verone, one of them, and Caden Ben, the other one. They finished 3rd and 4th respectively, making contact and piling into the wall. Gilhelm Pipers was in 5th and not able to take advantage of all that melee. Giuliano Romagnolo was P6, with Alexander Davidson finishing in 7th. Take Kim came up from 17th to 8th. Both he and Davidson had a lot of positions gained. Cantu in 9th was followed by Stephen Jeffrey in P10. The last few in this class is Balbiani, Federico, Ross, Robertson, and poor Morad a lap down with his opening lap issues. Sam?
Yeah, the top 4 finishers in the GT4 class finished exactly where they started, Drew, and nothing happened. No, that's completely wrong. We had a whale of a race up front in GT4 between Andrew Warren and Sam Fellows. At the end of the day, it was Andrew Warren taking home the win, which is massive in the points championship. Michael Morley getting a strong result in 3rd place, so we'll hold on to that points lead. Michael Broomhead, I tried to give him a shout out on the final lap, and then things got dicey over in GTEs, but he has finished 4th place in every single race so far this season. Eventually, you'll get on the podium, Michael. The best of luck with that. And 5th place in class at the bottom of that screen was Cope. And these drivers finished 6th through 15th in class, respectively. So Colin McKevitt, Jeremy Steinhausen, Christopher Bailey, Phil Schrader, Michael Ogren in 10th. Sydney Knight, Wayne Rayner, and then the rest of them. All these drivers were involved in some kind of trouble throughout the race.
Looks like we've got our winner in the GT4s ready to talk to us, Andrew Waring. And Andrew here with the victory adds to his tally with number 2. Andrew, it seemed like you had a bit of a handful this time.
Yeah, I'm kind of puzzled. The car felt horrible that whole race. Didn't help getting smashed by a couple of those GTE guys. And Sam and Michael just ran a fantastic race. I think I had to defend from Sam almost every lap. He seemed so fast. And then I knew when he got by me, I just had to get back past him as quickly as I could, or I was scared he'd pull away.
Yeah, you never gave up out there, but you had a lot of traffic to deal with. Some of them, even the other leaders battling with one another. How was that trying to deal with them, knowing that they had their own race to run?
Yeah, for the GTE leaders like Alex and the top 4 in general, they did a great job. Giuliano at the end kind of letting us run our race until he saw there was an opportunity to pass. That was fine. But some of the guys in the back, I don't know who drives that Aston Martin Porsche car, but he pretty much just ran me right off the track. Like that's in my opinion unacceptable. I know they're trying to have their own race, but they can't drive around like the leaders of the GT4 class like that. I know Sam got screwed a bunch of times, and so did I. So I'm just lucky the race wasn't ruined because of that.
Well, after 3 incredible races, we were kind of commenting behind the scenes that we're due for a procession eventually. But I mean, can you guys keep this up? It seems like every single race, we are just jaws on the floor, amazed at the racing out there.
Yeah. Obviously I can't speak for the GTE class, but the GT4 guys are really commendable on their talent. It's some of the best racing I've ever done online. And, I'm in a couple other series, and racing against people like Sam and Michael, fellow Canadians, is just, it's amazing. And it's clean racing. Sam and I didn't even touch once. We both took advantage of situations as we could. It's clean and fair, and Michael was always there stalking us in the background, ready to go. So honestly, it was one of the best races I've ever had online. Even if I didn't win, it was fantastic.
I love that spirit that we see from these drivers. And that was our winner, Andrew Waring, down in the GT4 class today. We've got our winner with Peter now in the GTE class, Alex Simonic.
Alex Simonic, what a brilliant performance, sir. 2 wins in a row. How was that race out there for you today?
It was great. I just watched what happened with Caden and Nicholas, and that's, I don't know. I would have to see what the race director is going to think about that. But I knew that this track was going to be a draft train because we have no bus stop, and the only way to be quick around this track in the draft train is to be at the front of the draft train. So that's why lap 1, I spent almost the entire lap being side by side with Nicholas, and probably lap 2 as well, because I knew just if you get out in front, you control where the pack goes and how you interact with traffic. And that's what I wanted to do this entire race, since I couldn't get pole for qualifying.
Yeah, your strategy to get out the front certainly paid dividends, because as you alluded to, the action behind you was certainly really quite adventurous and quite eventful. Could you, now I know that you must have your eyes forward and focusing on your own marks, but could you really see in your mirror what was all going on behind you?
Not really. I know what happened at the S's with Sam Fellows getting loose and in the GT4 and hitting Nicholas. But when I'm looking forward, I'm predicting where the GT4 or the slower class is going to be and how I can get around them as quickly as possible, whether it be, say, going on the inside in the S's. So that's what I had planned. I planned on going the inside for the first part of the S's and then inside again on the second part. And I guess Verone wanted to follow me, and it turned out not to be the winning move.
Yep, you certainly were out there avoiding all of that trouble. Now, we're off to Road Atlanta next week, a very special track, one of my personal favourites. How do you feel about going there? You know, it's a tricky it's a tricky track for lap traffic. How are you thinking about that race?
Yeah, Road Atlanta is also probably one of my top tracks on the service. Traffic there is going to be pretty hectic because as soon, I think it's turn 3, the quick right-hander all the way down to turn 5, there's barely any room to pass anyone unless you're going around the outside, which is really sketchy. So I think it's going to be another race where if you're out in the front, you're going to be dictating where traffic's going to go.
Tell you what, we can't wait to watch it. We've had 3 great races, 2 of them won by your good self. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to here on GSRC?
I'd like to thank my team, Vendaval SimRacing, for supporting me through the series. Also like to thank the team sponsors, Simicube, Draw Once, and Valco. Also,
thank you very much. Oh, sorry, go on. Yes, go on.
My teammate, Matty. It's his birthday today, so happy birthday, Matty.
Happy birthday, Matthew. Well, Alex, thank you very much for coming up to speak to us in the commentary box, and let's hope we'll see you again next week.
Glad to see you.
That was our first place finisher in the GTE class, Alex Simonic. Sam's caught up with second place down in the GT4s. That is Sam Fellows.
Yeah, Sam Fellows, an absolutely calm race where absolutely nothing dramatic or scary happened at all, right?
I have no clue what you're talking about.
You want to take us through that incident going up the S's first? What happened there?
I think it was pretty bad timing just in general from where the GTEs caught us. And I kind of had to go offline at the last second, got loose. And it's honestly one of those things where I don't even remember what happened. It's just your reflexes kind of take over and instinct jumps in. And yeah, I think I might have been helped by somebody kind of getting into me as well and almost using a little bit of as a front brake to help me get turned. But it was definitely pretty scary. I thought my race was over in an instant there, but managed to hold it together somehow.
That's okay. I was the one talking at the time, and I had absolutely no idea what was going on either. However, after that, it looked like you were carrying just the tiniest bit of damage on your on the front end, and that was making your car not have as much top end speed as Warren. Were you able to tell that from the cockpit? Is that how it felt out there?
That's an excellent point. I think you're probably right. At the time, it was such a close race. I didn't really think about it, but yeah, he definitely. I think the first time I got past him, and then he was able to get back past. I think into the carousel. I that would have been my first time up the hill without the with a little bit of damage on the front, and I definitely had the need to lift off a little bit being in the clean air. So I think it definitely played a little bit of a role there. But for the most part, I think Andrew's so crafty, and we had a really good race, and it was just a lot of fun. We went through so many corners too wide. I think it was good, and we never touched, so it was perfect.
We have an excellent championship battle fighting up between yourself, Morley, and Warren right now. Unfortunately, with only the third place finish at Sebring and the second place finish here today, you're third place, I think, in that championship battle. What does that mean for Road Atlanta? Do you need to go for the win there?
Yeah, I think Road Atlanta, I could probably be a bit more aggressive. It's the last track that I have real life experience on before we go to Europe, where I have absolutely no experience in real life over on those tracks. So, Le Mans, Silverstone, the rest of them, I'll have to do some extra homework, get myself up to speed there. To stay with the fast guys, I think. So I'm not going to do anything crazy, but I think if opportunity presents itself, I might be a little bit more aggressive in Road Atlanta for sure.
All right. Well, congratulations on the second place finish. Well done on that incredible save. It will that might make a highlight reel or two. At the end of the day, congrats on a solid performance today, Sam, and thanks for putting on a great show for us.
Thank you guys, and thanks for the great job in the booth today and all season. Thanks.
That was second place finisher Sam Fellows. And now we've also caught up with third place here in the GTEs, Nick Verone. Boy, another contentious end, unfortunately, Nico. But talk to us about it from your perspective about what happened in the final lap. We saw a few bits of contact there, it seemed.
Yeah, it was a really difficult race. I managed to get pole, but then I get like I was battling with a really good and clean battle with Simonic, and a GT4 went spin off and hit me in the rear. So I was very lucky to get away with that. Then was really good fighting with Caden until the last lap that we respect each other so well. I thought he was going to in the straight. He was going to cover the inside. That's why I went on the outside, and he closed. So I just left and went on the grass just not to hit him. And then we went side by side, three corners, and in the last, I think 2 corners to go, he was on the outside of me. He closed a little bit the line. I leave him a little bit space, but it was space enough, and he closed the line and hit me in the rear. So I spin off and take him out. So it was a bit of a shame, but it was it's racing. It was not fault of him or me. It was just a race incident that can happen. So bit of a pity, but happy with the third place.
Well, it sounds like no hard feelings, at least from your end. I take it then you don't feel any sort of rivalry kind of brewing here with some of the drivers around you, such as Ben and Simonic, because you guys can't seem to get away from one another, and the racing has been intense.
Yeah, if we start trying to see all the little incidents that happen, because it turns out something you can't race because it was just a race incident. We managed to to give all the spectators a really good fight. It was really intense. I enjoyed, and I lost the second place, and I'm still not angry because it was a really good race. The last contact was just a game, things that happen, but it's racing.
Sometimes that's all you can say about racing is it's just racing. But Nico, thanks for coming and talking to us, and best of luck up at Road Atlanta. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you again in a week.
Thank Joe. Big congratulations for the broadcast. It's
all my family is watching it, so they tell me it's really good. Hope to get the win in Road Atlanta.
Thank you very much for the kind words. One last interview that we've got. Sam has caught up with our third place finisher here in the GT4s. It is Michael Morley.
Yeah, hi, Michael. Nice opening to the season for you. 3 podium finishes, and that's going to hold on to the points lead. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I wish I had something for the leaders there then.
Yeah, that was my second question. The leaders were battling for the race win all race long, switching first and second. Were you just sitting back there, or were you gonna try and pass them in the closing laps? What was your approach to all that?
Well, in the beginning, they were battling out pretty hard. I was kind of hoping they were going to mess up their tires a bit and catch them in mid-run. But I kind of had a mistake mid-run. So I had to catch him back up, and I was going to throw it in there the last couple of laps, but some GTs got in the way, got pushed out, and that was that. There's nothing you could do from there, right?
No, you have a great championship battle shaping up here between yourself, Warren, and of course Fellows. But I've got to address the elephant in the room. You finished first at the season opener, second at round 2, third at round 3. Are you going to be able to make a comeback at Road Atlanta and get back up to that top spot?
Oh yeah, I love Road Atlanta, and I expect to be number 1. Actually, I can't wait for Road Atlanta.
Nor can we, especially after the high-quality racing that you guys have provided us with throughout the opening 3 rounds. Well, we'll let you go and wrap up this broadcast, Michael, but anything else you'd like to say?
I'd just like to thank you guys at GSRC again and Racing Edge. They put on a great show. They got great drivers, and hopefully you guys had fun watching it.
We certainly did, and thanks for coming out here today, Michael, putting on a great show for us.
Take care, guys.
The third place in the GT4 is Michael Morley. The last of our interviews as well. So we're going to close up for today with a big thank you to our promoter, of course, Racing Edge. Again, if you want to find out if they have a car for you, you can go to racingedge.com. Also, a big thank you goes out to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts that are listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Sean, Sam, Peter, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media, where our Twitter is @GSR Channel, Facebook, Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram, GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, we've got a merchandise store linked below, just at gsrc.storenvy.com. And while you're down there in the description, make sure and subscribe to the channel. All you got to do is click the big red button that says subscribe. Next race, as we mentioned, we're heading down south to Road Atlanta. That'll be Tuesday, June 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen. Make sure and check those out and mark them down on your calendar. And real quickly, we're going to have another one coming up tonight. It is the GTE Sports Car Series for the Precision Racing League. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.